What's going on, guys? Electric Ninja here, and today we're doing something different. I sent this Google survey to a bunch of my friends and family, and today we're going to be seeing which one of them is the best logician by reviewing their answers on this test. I'm going to be analyzing my friends and family through two sections. One is a basic logic test, and the other is something new and unique, so I'm going to show you what that is when we get to it. Now, some of the participants wanted to be individually reviewed, while others just wanted to be a part of the general consensus, so I'll make sure to honor that as we get right into the questions. The first section is the general age, the name, and the email of the people who wanted to take this test, as well as the people who wanted their answers personally reviewed or not, so I could know how to review everybody's answers, and so I could know what trends emerged in the dataset. The actual first section was normal logic, so for the first question, I made a new alphabet and asked for which name was which button down below. They had to find out which one Carl was. Then, the second puzzle is a normal Sudoku puzzle. They had to figure out which one is in the bottom left-hand corner out of those options. Third question is 2 lies, 1 truth. It's a basic logic puzzle to find out which one is true and which 2 are false. The fourth is a logic grid, and you have to find out which of these following statements is true, because only one of them is. The fifth one is a crypto quote. You have to translate the cryptogram into real life. Then, the last question in this section is another logic puzzle that's actually from one of my escape rooms, which you should go check out if you haven't already. Third and final section, though, in the second section of logic, is my favorite section, because it has to do with logical reasoning. You want to deduce the answers that other people will give and choose the one the least people answered. So, if people chose option 1, you'd want to choose option 2. There are 5 of these puzzles, and they do come into play into your score to total a whole 25 points, with 5 questions in this section and 20 in the section above. Now, let's get into the answers people gave. Alright everybody, I am excited to announce that the results are now in. I got 14 responses, so thank you to everybody who did want to do this. I made sure to include you as a member of the general consensus or as an individual, depending on what you wanted to be. So let's get right into the responses. First of all, this was the average distribution. As you can see, some people did really well and ended up with 20 points, 19 points, and 21 points out of 25. And then another one got 1. So there was this general distribution where some people did really well, but most people actually ended up struggling on this logic quiz, which I think is a shame, but it just means I'll have to teach you guys harder and figure out how to do logic with you guys. So here are the frequently missed questions. The 2 lies, 1 truth one really struck people as a hard question. So did the crypto quote, and so did the riddle. Then, the last 5 questions, obviously, only half of them could get it right, if that, so those were obviously frequently missed questions as well. Now, 42% of them wanted to be part of the general consensus, which means I'm going to be reviewing, I think that's 8, just off the top of my head, which, fair enough. The general age seemed to be about 15 to 17 years old for some of them, but also a few were 49, and I'm guessing you can guess why. Now, when it comes to the actual questions, let's see who did well on what. 13 of them got the first question right, which thank God. I mean, come on. This was one of the easiest questions I made, and I am disappointed in this one person, but oh well. For Sudoku, if you know how to do Sudoku, it's really easy. If you don't, well, I think you could still figure it out, but 11 people got it right, so that's also good. 2 lies, 1 truth. Find the truth. Now this one we already covered was a hard one. Option 1 is actually a lie here, and if we go to the question, I'll explain why. So, 2 of these have to be lies. If option 1 is the truth, option 3 is also the truth, so that can't be possible. If option 3 is the truth, option 2 is a lie, so that works so far, but that means that option 1 is true. Because if option 2 is lying about option 1 being a lie, then option 1 is true. That also doesn't work. So by logical reasoning, we can deduct that 2 must be the true one there. 5 orangutans have different crates of fruit. That's a logic puzzle, and half of them got it right, which is pretty good. I'll explain the trick with this one. The trick with this one is that you look at clue 2, you see either Seth or Sarah must have the bananas, and really, if the answer choices say only one of the following is true, this should be a 50-50 shot. So I respect the ones that said Sarah, but the answer was actually Seth if you used the logical reasoning. Translate the crypto quote into a normal sentence. A lot of people don't know what a crypto quote is, so I guess I'll have to explain that in another video. What is a cryptogram? Well, good for you guys. I'm going to teach you. So this was the variety of responses. One of these is actually right, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the sixth one. And finally, the last question for the first section was a riddle, another logic puzzle with 7 different columns. And people really struggled on this one, so I'm going to have to make my own video for this one too. Now, I do really like this puzzle. It's in one of my escapers. I do recommend you check it out because this one is hard, but possible. 2 people got this puzzle completely correct. 1 came close. They didn't do it, but only 3 people came even close to solving this puzzle, so I really need to show this to you guys. Finally, though, the last section, my favorite, logical reasoning. And briefly glancing over it, you can see actually all of the answers are the second choice. So, yes, this is the first question. Option 2 is the right answer. Dogs or cats? It's cats. Win the lottery or lose $1 million, you lose $1 million. Because for some reason, people forgot that this was supposed to be the one with the least people. Was this quiz difficult? Obviously not. I mean, I would have answered no because I made this quiz, but I suppose no was actually the correct answer anyway. And are you going to win? Maybe. Well, maybe someone was going to win. Let's find out who. First one to be individually assessed was my teenage friend Mel's K, so let's see how they did. They got the first question right. Good job. So did they get the Sudoku. Unfortunately, though, they did get tripped up by the logic, so I'll have to work on them with that. Yes. This was a general one that a lot of people got wrong, so I do see why they got it. They did get this logic puzzle, though, and yeah, the crypto quote, real struggle there. But they got a bit of this table, so that's good for them. Finally, let's see how they did on the final section. They actually got 4 out of 5 of these right, which is really impressive because you have to deduce what the other people are answering, not just what you think is the right answer. So the fact that they got option 2, cats, lose $1 million, and no, was pretty impressive, but they unfortunately were not going to win, as predicted. Next one, personally reviewed, was Christina, who went with the vulgar nickname of Poopy Butt. So let's see how well they did, and 6 out of 25 points. Well, anyways, they're in their early 20s, and they got the first 2 questions right. Good job. Unfortunately, though, they did not really get the rest of the questions right, so they are also not the winner. And third, we have a 1 out of 25 point response by a 12-year-old. Unfortunately, they were not able to pull out the win this time, though I did hear they're pretty good at fantasy football. This is my grandma and papa, so congratulations, grandma and papa. You got 9 out of 25 points, which is respectable because, you know, old age for the win. Let's go. Anyways, their general age is 74. They got the first 2 questions right, like most people did, and failed at the third one. However, they did manage to get the 4th one right, but on the 5th and 6th, they didn't really have so much luck. Unfortunately, though, they got 0 out of 5 points on the logical reasoning, so let's go to the next one. Chrisanne here has got a solid 10 out of 25 points. Now, I say that's solid because looking at our median, that is our median. So, you did about average, Chrisanne. They got the first 2 right. Those were generally the easiest ones. They did get tripped up on the logic ones, though, including the option 3 is true, is what they said. It's not that. And then they said Sarah has bananas, but at least they took that 50-50. The cryptic quote, also, they had no clue on. And they got about half of this table right, but did get tripped up in the end. For the last section, they got 1 and 2 of them right, correctly guessing that they were maybe going to win, but unfortunately, a 10 out of 25 did not do it for them. 3 more need to be reviewed, and luckily, there are top 3. So let's not waste further time and see who got our number 3 spot. Number 3 actually goes by the appropriate title of Java Supreme. So they did want their answers personally reviewed, which is why I'm doing it. And they managed to get a whole 19 out of 25 points. That's really impressive because, I mean, that's third place itself. So they got 16 out of 25 on the logic, 16 out of 20 on the logic itself. They got the first and second questions right. They also got the third right. Very impressive. Only 5 people got that right. They managed to get that Seth has bananas, and they even managed to get the cryptogram. Nobody else has done that, I believe, up to this point. However, they did struggle on the last question of this section. It looks like they got trapped with the 2 wool blocks. There's actually only 1, and they didn't include a backwards. So that partly is the reason for that. But they did place all the traps right. They managed to get 3 out of 5, but they didn't get the first one. They got the second, third, and fourth, and did not get the 5th. They were not gonna win, unfortunately. For second place, we had the first one to actually get 20 out of 20 on the normal logic part. It's JP, a 17-year-old who wanted his answers personally reviewed. Let's see how he did. They managed to get a whopping 20 out of 20 points on the logic time. That does mean, though, as they only got 20 points, those were the only points they got. They did everything perfectly in this first section, as you can see, but completely failed to read the audience, and so only managed to get 20 total points. Last one to want their answers personally reviewed, as well as first place, is boltonhh@gmail.com, also known as Bond Fleming for his in-game username. Let's see how they won. So they managed to get 17 out of 20 with the logic points, and as you can see, they were only trapped with the crypto quote. That does mean, though, as they got first place, they got 4 points on the final section. A really impressive job, because I thought for sure that JP would be the winner of this section. However, Bolton managed to clutch it up. Option 2, Cats. Only one they got wrong was win the lottery. This quiz was not difficult, and they were maybe going to win. They managed to do it. Congratulations, Bolton. Bond Fleming chose to be in a future escape room video, so subscribe to Electric Ninja, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, goodbye.